giant weekend in Texas. The wrap-up is on the way.
I created Species Nutrition with one mission in mind: to provide bodybuilders and serious athletes with no-nonsense supplements that work. I put my name and reputation on every bottle of Species Nutrition products. If you want to be your absolute best, join the evolution.
And we are back with another episode of Heavy Muscle Radio. We are live here on this beautiful Monday, August 11th. I'm here with the technician, Chris Aceto. We are home, both of us, amazingly enough. And I thought that, covering bodybuilding shows was tough. I was at the Great Wolf Lodge with the kids on Saturday and Sunday. And then today was the first day of school. So, I wasn't in the routine. I had to get back in the routine of everything, and lunches and bags, and my kids have to wear uniforms, and it's a whole. So I'm like, I'm so happy that the weekend is over. Oh, yeah. now we got to talk bodybuilding. Now we got to talk bodybuilding because we had a great bodybuilding weekend too.
And that they're in school, so they're out of your hair.
My mother,
what rule there is?
Chris, I've said this before. I've told them. My mother on Sunday nights would sing "School Tomorrow."
Oh yeah, she was excited.
She loved it. It drove me, and she knew it drove me crazy too. I was singing that to them last night. I'm like, "School tomorrow," as they wouldn't go to sleep, because they're still in the summer mode,
Yeah, they're still into that mode where they're going to bed at late. It's going to be hard this week to get them into bed at an early time.
Yeah. I don't know why they start so early here in Florida, which is, and if you in New York, and I know up in the Northeast, a lot of times, most schools are not air conditioned because it doesn't really get hot until the school lets out. Yeah. But here, the room, it's always hot. So they're air conditioned all year round. So I don't know what the reason they have to start in the middle of August is. I know a lot of my friends' kids are still in camp. They're in sleepaway camps.
And the parents, camps. By special request, wanted to sing your mother's song. The PTA day. They put the Get these kids in there before September 1st.
I seriously don't understand it. And think about it. If anyone should start early, it should be the New York and the Northeast schools, because they get snow. And so they have to have snow days. I mean, what do we get? We get a hurricane every couple of years. I mean, yeah, they miss a couple of days of school, but up in the north, you could lose, 15, 20 days on it with snow and stuff.
Dave, one little tidbit about snow in Maine. And in Maine, they have a winter break. Yes. And that break came because administration that they decided we'll just give the kids a week off, and we'll turn the heat down in the buildings.
Is that really what it was from?
And that's where it started, and it stuck.
I didn't know that. I thought it was just because they wanted to give them, a Christmas break or something like that.
No, they have Christmas break, but then soon after they have a whole winter break in February, like an intermediary break.
Oh, right. You're right.
So they can save money.
You're right. They do have that. I don't think my kids get that. I think they just get an extended Christmas break. They have a long one. Remember in college? Remember that first time you went home for Christmas in college and you had like a month off?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Wasn't that like the great? Like you were like, after being in school for like 13 years, between kindergarten and first grade, you're like, holy mackerel, we actually had a month off in the middle of the year? Yeah. This is unbelievable, Of course, I got the wrong.
I would have just gone, Dave, if I had known you and you were much older, I would have gone to work for Species Nutrition and not even under college.
Do I sound better now?
Yeah, you sound perfect to me on my end.
Hello?
You sound good. I can hear you.
What about now?
You sound perfect. Perfect, Dave.
Oh, okay. Just making sure. Okay. All right. Well, we did have a busy weekend in terms of bodybuilding. And, our very own Sid Ferrugia, who'll be joining us in a little bit, but he was the MC out there. And, and everyone gave me rave reviews about, his announcing of all the competitors. And he's like, Dave, I have to give 100% to the last competitor that I give to the Mr. Olympia competitor, because I can't do it any other way. So when he announces everyone, it's got to be like they're the champion of the world, which makes competitors feel great.
Such a good job. I watched the show, and before I tried to watch like the Men Open. That's the only thing I had time for to watch on the live stream. And I had texted Freddie, the promoter, and said, like, Sid is just killing it. I'm watching like the tail end of the bikini.
Yeah.
And it feels like there's a lot of action going on just by the way he announces. Yeah. He's such a natural. He creates an environment that's, I mean, I'm sure there it's exciting anyway, but just if you can watch the live stream and you're paying attention to the announcer as much as you are the athletes,
right?
You're doing a good job. And before we say, Dave, I don't know if you watched the live stream.
No.
But Martin Fitzwater has established himself as the premier live stream play-by-play guy.
Oh, is he good? I didn't listen to him.
He made it between Sid, the announcing, and Hani did a good job on, his perspective as a coach. He did a good job. But Martin Fitzwater was like, he knew the guys, like where they turned pro. He knew like what they did last show. He was able to evaluate and break down, okay, this is why these are his strengths, but this is what's going to hold him back in the call out. And he could even say like, okay, this guy's, they're going to move him up. The judges are going to move him up once they get a closer look. And that's how the show played out.
Wow. Well, it also helps when guys are actually actively competing with the guys that they're critiquing. They know a lot about them, right? Because these guys all talk with each other. So
yeah, but there were 26 guys. Well, guys like I don't even know, and it'd be like, well, I think did the Chicago 2 years ago, took 2 years off.
Yeah.
His quads, hamstring still needs some work. All of it.
But I'm saying when you're actually competing with these guys, you talk to them he's friends with all these guys, so he knows all the gossip with them, which is good. Whereas if you or I were doing it, we would mostly, we would get some information about them, but we would also be critiquing mostly their physique. We wouldn't know that, so-and-so ate a donut yesterday for breakfast and it upset his stomach and he had diarrhea and that's why he was dehydrated on stage, So it's called insider trading, Chris, is what it's called. But I'm glad, I know Martin put up some money too for the best poser, right? Or something like that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I think he put $2,000 up. Yeah.
Crazy.
But that was best presentation. So look, that show has grown into something amazing. And I'll tell you something, they love Sid over there because they bring him out for every show they do, Sheila and Freddie.
Yeah.
And they put on some top-notch shows over there. I'm so happy that they took over that whole Texas area there. Between Lee Thompson, who's, destroyed that place, I didn't know if it would ever make a comeback, but I'm glad that Freddie and Sheila are doing so awesome over there. They're two super stellar people. They're solid, rock solid. They're genuine, and I know that's why Sid loves going out there too. And I love him. I love Sheila. I've known her for probably you two for 30 years. We probably know her.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the show because there was a little controversy, and I will say this one thing about the show. This lineup, this top four, actually really almost the top 10 were really well conditioned. And you don't see that a lot of times in these like, I guess, pre-Olympia shows. Usually toward the end, a lot of times you just see like one or two good guys. This was a hard lineup. It was very deep too. If you look at the guys, who were 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, they could have placed top 3 at any other pro show. And that says a lot about this lineup. And it was a really, to me, and I'll get your opinion in a second. To me, it was about size and conditioning. I saw a lot of massive guys with crazy, ripped, freaky conditioning. Fans love that. I know the judges love it too because they're bodybuilders at heart. And that's what the show is about for me. Now, let's play the top 5. I got some video here, and you break it down for us because this was a pretty impressive lineup, I have to say.
Well, I'll preface it, Dave, with, of course, saying that, we say all the time, I was not there, but the video quality was extremely good. And I did watch, I didn't see the finals, but I did watch the prejudging, and I had my opinion of the way it went, and I think I got 1 through 5 spot on. It ended up how I would have had it, although the guy who got second really pushed Jordan. I forget the guy. Sorry,
Joe Palacios.
Yeah, Joe Palacio is coached by Justin Compton, and he reminds me like just that brutalness of Justin. And Justin's phone should be like ringing off the hook after seeing what he's done with this guy in a year, because he was. I thought he pushed.
A lot of people thought he won the show.
Yeah, I thought he pushed. Who's the winner again, Dave? Justin.
Yeah.
I think he pushed Justin right to the edge.
Jordan, you mean?
Jordan. Sorry, Jordan. I think Jordan was like super consistent from last week to this week. I think Joe improved this week. I think that Joe arguably won like the side shots, and the back shots are gnarly. I think that another panel could have possibly, flipped the coin and given it to Joe, but I did have him prejudge him, which is all I saw. I had like an edge with Jordan, although I could see Joe taking it, and that's the way I saw the top two. I thought Quentin looked, remarkable. I thought he was better last week, and I thought on video it looked like he faded. The only thing that
he has the most potential of that whole top four. You have to admit.
Yeah, he has a capital P with potential, and he's reaching his potential. He's reaching his potential. I think the only knock on him is his age, and sometimes people think that's an excuse because sometimes people mature.
How old is he?
I don't know, mid-20s, late 20s, not old.
Okay.
But for what he did last year, up to this year, is remarkable in terms of volume. And of course, when you put on the volume, it's just hard to bring it down to a level of conditioning.
Why did he lose this?
Because Joe and Jordan have muscle maturity, more muscle density, and that maturity and density translates into a harder look in all the shots. And I think that if Quentin had dieted more, it wouldn't have helped, because he doesn't have the density to where people would say, oh, if he just pulled it down another 5 pounds, he wouldn't get anything harder than he was here, because the hardness is.
He's in shape.
Yes, the hardness is the muscle hardness, and that comes from years of training. And some people have that hardness, in 2 or 3 years. They might not be big, but they have, wow, that's a lot of hardness, but they don't have a lot of size. He's just got the body, like a lot of people do, where it takes more years of training just to create that illusion of density. Not illusion of density, that reality of density. So that's why he ended up in third, and I think they lined it up for him to be second, which when you start the show, he has all the bells and whistles that make him look like second or even first, but it came down to 2 guys with similar physiques where he's like the odd guy out. In
another lineup, could you see him winning with the different judging panel? I was going to say that, yeah.
He went up against 2 guys who are super dense and very muscular in their own right, very muscular. So you were comparing those 3, and he's, quote, the odd man out on that comparison, on a 3-person comparison.
He's starting to look like Samson a little bit, isn't he? Although he's actually wider than Samson.
He looks like himself, he's got he's got everything. I
think he's got better structure than some of the guys winning the Olympia at this point.
Yeah.
If you can add it, the only reason I see, or the only weakness I see in him is right there. That's his back shot. his back is just not as dense and as thick as these other guys. I mean, his legs can be a little bigger too, but to me, that's not taking away. It's that back double shot looks a little on the like he's missing something, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a little bit of density, a little bit of size, a little bit of size, a little bit of density. It's not like it's miles off.
No, he's 1 year. He's 1 year away in my mind. You know, one more good solid year of training, and then no one's beating this guy. You know?
Yeah, he's very impressive.
I mean, I don't know what he weighed here. He looks like he's about 280 pounds. His height.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what he weighed. You know, he's structure that it's always going to look like he weighed. You know, he could be heavier than that. He could be lighter than that. He just looks massive at any weight, unless he's
this
too
looks
light.
like a you know how people say this looks like a Bob Grushkin guy? I'm saying this looks like a Chris Aceto guy.
Unless he's too light, you know, unless he's too light and then he falls apart.
Yeah.
And I think he probably would agree with that. Like every show, he's been too light. I mean, I saw him in Tampa when like Kamal did it. I saw him in the gym like 3 days out, and I just thought he looked massive. And I think for like that show, he came in too light like the last few days, because you make this mistake, which is so easy to make. I mean, I'm sure in the back, the back. I'm sure like the last 3 years, people say, just, you got structure, just dial it in, bring it in, which means bring the weight down. And when you bring the weight down, when you're, like I said, when you're a young bodybuilder, sometimes it backfires. You don't have the firepower to be able to like show your structure. That structure is only going to be impressive round. Coming down, it's just a waste of time.
Right. I think on an Olympia stage, I think that Quinton's going to be very deadly at some point in time. My question is, and I always ask you this after every one of these pro shows, because obviously the guys who win are going to the Olympia. How does Jordan Hutchinson do at the Olympia in your mind?
I think it's so hard to say, man. What an Olympia. He's going to get really good call outs, because he's got what his calling cards are is he's got 3: condition, density, lack of weaknesses. Like, he doesn't overwhelm you with any one body part, and everything's conditioned, everything's dense, everything's full for his frame. So, you're a judge, and he's going to get some type of look. I have no idea what type, just simply because the lineup is always, of course, so deep, and you don't know what he looks like next to like Hottie. You know what I mean? I mean, Samson. Right. It's just hard to make that call until you actually see them on stage. Yeah,
I agree with you. But what I find is that we're very impressed by what we see on a specific stage, and we can start inflating these guys to be like, whoa, these guys have tons of muscle. Joe and Jordan and Quinton is a freak, and John Jewett put a lot of size on. Everyone's got striated glutes and they're in shape. These guys are going to kill it if they can get to the Olympia. And then you get on an Olympia stage and you can't even find these guys in the
well, the other advantage or disadvantage, the true disadvantage is when you peak for a show here in 9 weeks, it's very hard to see where the landing spot is in 9 weeks. You take the common sense approach, but when you really nail it with 9 weeks to go, it's hard to figure out, where do I go from here? What am I supposed to do? Do I let my weight go up 10 pounds and train for 3 weeks? Do I stay tight, like close to my body weight? Do I drop out the cardio and eat more? I mean, there's so many factors that come into play in terms of like, where do I go from here? So
sure. Well, there's Milan on September 7th, the Pro Muscle Italy, and I see there's a German show, the Europa Pro, on September 14th. I hear that Quinton is going to be going to Europe, so he's not done. He says he wants to qualify for the Olympia, and I think he can do it. I think I don't know if I don't know how well he's going to hold on with as far as the diet goes, but if he can do it, who's going to beat him over there?
Yeah.
he might have a very good shot. I mean, I don't know if Joe is Joe Palacio. He's not qualified. I mean, he should go over there too.
Yeah, he's not qualified, and
No.
he's a handful for anyone.
I would, if I were him, I'd go hit one of those shows too. Don't you think?
Yeah, why not? I mean, you just came off 2 sensational showings.
Right. I wanted to just give a shout out to Kareth Bajo, who I'm working with again, as you know, who's a top 3 212 guy in the world, and he wanted to do this Texas Pro in the Open to see where he stood and how he matched up against these guys. It's funny because he's a little on the shorter side compared to a lot of these guys, and he's got ridiculous density. But I thought he brought his best look to date. We had a really good prep going. I'm super happy. He plays 7th, but I mean, the guy is just got so much freaking muscle on his body. And you know what? I said to him, if this was any other lineup, you probably would have been top 3 for sure here. I said, this happened to be a lineup of mass monsters. I mean, seriously, can you remember, aside from the Arnold, have we seen lineups where the guys with this dense, thickly dense muscle with this kind of conditioning? Everyone really did their homework. So I'm super impressed, more so with the conditioning that the top 8 or 9 guys brought than anything else. I don't think I remember a pro show in recent memory where the top 10 guys were all crazy shredded. Not one person was out of shape.
It's like Bruno was probably pretty much at his best.
Yeah, everyone was.
Amir was 5th. He was at his all-time shreddedness.
Absolutely.
And then, Patrick Moore, he placed, but he looked really round and in good shape. So
that's Kareth from 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, and then to now. And the guy
is he doing the 212 Olympia?
Yes, he will, of course. Yeah.
That show's going to be just. What was his weight here? What was his weight?
You wouldn't even believe it. It's well below 212 here.
I'm sure.
Which is great because he doesn't have to worry about making weight, which, that's why Keon Pearson looks so good on stage too. He's not sucking down to 212. So, which gives him a tremendous advantage, with as far as coming in full enough. And like I said, you have nothing to be, ashamed of. You looked amazing. People gave him some crazy compliments here. He was very happy. This was his fullest, densest, hardest look to date. And he's going to be very dangerous. I think he's going to really push Keon, I think, this year and Sean Clarita. So it's going to be a great battle. That 212, the 212 class has gotten really good. And you mentioned earlier, Chris, we can't forget the guy who just won this show at 212, the Texas Pro, is another breakout star. This Lucas Garcia guy.
Lucas Garcia is going to be a major factor at the Olympia. Major.
What do you like about him? I mean, aside from the fact that the guy's a freak show,
shape, roundness, presentation, delts, arms, legs, hamstrings, back, pecs.
Chris, I'm going to make you crack up.
Arms.
You know who he looks like?
Victor Terra.
Well, he looks like Victor Terra. He looks like he could be Rafael Santoja's son, right? He looks like him a little bit. How tall is this guy?
He looks very short. He looks like a Dugdale with 30 pounds.
Dugdale, yeah, he has a Dugdale look to him too. You're right.
Like the shoulders and the arms Dugdale had, but like way better.
Yeah.
Dugdale had crazy quads. His legs even better.
Yeah.
The V taper, the bone structure, major league factor. Major. So I'm talking Dave pushing to first.
All right. I'm putting you on the record here. This way, people, if anyone says no one saw him coming, I'll say Chris Aceto did on August 11th, 2025.
I don't know if you were like judging how you could not say like you're going to be a major factor in October.
Yeah. He's a freak. He is really short though. Look at this picture.
It works for him. It works. He's very short, and it almost is like an advantage because he's short with balance. If you're short with like the limbs are too long, too short, like the arms are too short, or the legs are too short, or the torso is like too long or too short. If you're short, it acts as a detriment. He reminds me of like Marvin Wood being short.
Yeah.
You would say like, it almost made him look bigger.
Yeah. These Brazilians are cranking out the champions over there. I mean, I think the classic guy won, right? From Brazil too.
Yeah.
I don't know where they you know what it is? The sport has become so huge in Brazil that everyone wants to go into it now. So when everyone wants to go into something, you get a better talent pool there, and it just is what it is,
Yeah.
Yeah, Matthias Menegate from, I think I pronounced that right, from Brazil was first in classic. They're really, I mean, it's very impressive. But talk to Tamer, who runs all the muscle contest shows out there. Those shows get the audience, Chris. It's like, remember how the audiences were in like the 90s here, or 80s and 90s to watch bodybuilders? That's what it's like in Brazil. It's like a nut house there, and they're loud, and it's very, very popular. And look at any Brazilian bodybuilders Instagram. These guys have like ridiculous amounts of followers there. And that's because the sport has grown so much there. And once again, I know you got to thank guys like Tamer and all the people who are bringing these I guess potential and all this opportunities. That's the word I'm looking for, to first turn pro, which they never could do there. Remember how hard it was to get a pro card from Brazil?
Yeah, who got the first one down there?
Oh,
when I was coaching them.
Oh,
Reagan Grimes.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he did. He lost to I don't know.
I didn't even know he did that. I didn't even know he went down there.
I don't know if Bumstead beat him. Or what? I can't even remember. He had to be 20, and then he asked like, when should I do another show? Oh no, he did the Arnold. No. He did the Arnold Classic Amateur, and he got second in the heavies, and his structure really allowed him to beat a lot of bigger guys. Yeah. And the guy who beat him won the overall and got his pro card. And he talked about, well, next year. I said, no. I said, you got to find immediately the first pro qualifier you can. And they had something down in Brazil. And he got 100% last minute visa, 100% last minute flight. Got there 2 days before, water buffalo off a long trip, and pulled it down, and he won the overall down there.
Wow. I didn't even know that. Good. That's good. Good historical significance there. I couldn't have pulled that little tidbit out of my hat. Maybe
I still have the exact pictures that he sent when he got off the plane in my head. Oh my gosh.
Right. I remember how hard it was for those guys to get pro cards. As a matter of fact, when I was at Muscular Development in, I want to say 2007 or 8, remember we held something. It was like an online contest, the NB Cyber Classic. And then people submitted pictures. And then we would, at the Arnold, we had built a stage there, and we did a final pose down, and we gave away 10 grand to the winner. And Eduardo Correa won that, but he had also just gotten his pro card by winning the Arnold Amateur. That was the only way that these Brazilians could get pro cards, was to actually come and do the Arnold Amateur and win that, and which was very hard, obviously, because it was only one opportunity a year. Then Tamer took over Muscle Contest, and they started holding all these pro qualifiers down in Brazil. And once they did that country just blew up, because now people saw an opportunity to get a pro card and do something with it. And then social media came around, and they just blew up. Yeah. But you don't realize how people didn't know what to do to get pro cards. I remember they would try anything. There was just no method. There was no pro qualifiers down in Brazil, which sounds insane today, right? Because they have so many of them now, but there wasn't back then. And that's why you're seeing so many great Brazilian bodybuilders coming out of the woodwork, so to speak, because the opportunities are finally there. They weren't there before that. All right.
Yeah.
What else should we talk? So there was a Masters Olympia, Chris, this weekend too. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Let me get your take on it, and then I'm going to give you I have a rant to do on it. I don't care if people don't like the rant, but I'm going to do it anyway. What do you think?
About the Masters Olympia?
Yeah. Dorian Haywood wins, obviously.
He looked
Phil Clohar.
Yeah, Dorian Haywood looked great. I mean, I think that it is what it is. It's a title, to put under your belt. But I think when the Masters Olympia first started, it was a way to. I mean, Joe started it, Weider, and it was to draw like people who were like, quote, the superstars. Boyarko, Robbie Robinson, Danny Padilla did it. Lou Ferrigno did it.
It was made for Lou Ferrigno, that show.
Did I say Boyarko? Or, it was made for Lou Ferrigno. But the point is, there was a lot of previous superstars, and I don't think the previous superstars who are retired now are not going to be coming back to compete as a Masters for a lot of reasons. So it's a title show, but
what are the reasons?
Because no matter what the money is, the Phil Heaths, the Kai Greens, you just go through the list of people who are retired, who are really good, Dennis Wolf, or what, you could come up with like endless names. Troy Alves, you can keep going and going and going. People aren't going to come back because once you stop competing, you find other interests. Once you stop competing, the eye of the tiger is dead. And then if you're those guys, the fact is you don't want to come back because you can't replicate or close to replicate the physique you had that your fans remember and that you remember. No matter what age catches up to you, no matter how hard Phil or Kai prepped for the show, they're not going to be the Phil or Kai that we remember. And we're in the day of, social media where Phil or Kai, of course, would win. And there'd be like 100,000 comments on, glad, you look terrible. That's, what I mean? Why put yourself through that? That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
Having said that, still a great title to have. Dorian Haywood is now officially Masters Mr. Olympia. And the lineup was pretty good, decent. And he looked great. I think it's one of his best packages. But it just doesn't have that mystique that it did, way back when they first brought it back. You had you still had, who's the guy with the big arms? Dave, who won many pro shows. He won it a couple times.
Oh, not Don Youngblood?
No, not Don Youngblood.
You're talking about Vince Taylor.
Vince Taylor. So a legit guy, who still looked crazy when he won it. He's the exception because at an older age, he still looked incredible and was still training all the way through.
Well, Brandon Curry could have done the show, right? Brandon Curry could have done it. I got news for you. What's his name? But William Bonac would have won the show.
Yeah, they could have done it and won it. Then it would have, then it has. They're active guys and they could have done it.
More gravitas it has if they do that. Here's my take. Here's my take on it. First of all, nothing. I'm not taking anything away from Dorian Haywood because you know what? He was the best man on the stage. Very close between him and Phil. Phil Clohar looked really good too, but whatever. He was the best man. He deserved the victory. He showed up. He did it great. But you know what? The promoters missed a big, big opportunity here. And I'm going to tell you why. The whole mystique behind the Masters Olympia, the reason Joe created it really was for Lou Ferrigno. Because Lou Ferrigno had never won an Olympia. He wanted to make a comeback. Joe wanted to give him a venue. He knew he couldn't beat Dorian Yates at the regular Olympia at this point because Lou was already 38, 39 years old at this point. But he knew the fans wanted to see it. He knew it would be a great marketing tool. He'd put Lou on the cover and he'd show him the comeback and all. The show was made for Lou. And then somehow, somewhere, they took a helicopter to the top of a mountain someplace in Timbuktu, and they found Robbie Robinson wherever he was hiding and meditating in the mountaintops. And they said, "You want to do it? We need someone to compete against Lou, or was that going to be a show?" And Robbie's like, sure, because Robbie always looks great, right? Robbie's been training for 80 years.
He's the original Dexter.
Yes. So Robbie comes back and does the show and beats Lou. Now Lou's pissed off, right? but that was the excitement behind the Masters Olympia. So, and then once Vince Taylor turned 40, he was almost unbeatable. After that 1 year he lost controversially to Don Youngblood, but I mean Vince was incredible, and so Joe got a lot of mileage out of that Masters Olympia because it was like a throwback, and you got to see the people you really liked. Vince was a great entertainer. Lou is the Incredible Hulk. I mean, it didn't get it. Robbie Robinson. I mean, come on, you didn't even need anyone else in the show. So what I think the promoters that promoted the Masters Olympia didn't understand is that it's not a world title. No one cares. Okay. It's just another show. What makes the Masters Olympia amazing is to have a legend there that still looks great, that we can get excited about seeing, that maybe can't win the regular Olympia, but if we can give him an Olympia title in the Masters division, we're going to feel good about it. It's like watching an old, 80s or 70s sitcom, and you see one of the actors come back and play a cameo in a modern, movie or something like that. It gives us a good feeling inside. So what they missed about was they had all these classes. They probably spent a ton of money, these Japanese promoters, on buying the sanction, running the show, and they have 400 divisions, which they really didn't need. And when in fact they could have taken some of that money, Kai Green made it known he wanted to do the show. He wanted to be compensated in some way. And you know what? They blew a huge opportunity. They would have made back whatever they had to give Kai to get him to do the show. They would have made it back on the pay-per-view alone. Who wouldn't have bought that pay-per-view? Everyone would have bought it. He could have sold. You don't even need anyone else. All you needed was Kai Green in that lineup. Okay? He would have sold more tickets than just getting Phil Heath in that lineup. I got news for you. But if you could have gotten both of them, it would have been game over. Or Kai Green versus Brandon Curry or something like that. All Brandon Curry, from what I understand, I didn't talk to him directly, but all he wanted was his expenses paid. And I don't think they wanted to pay his expenses over there. Kai probably wanted some appearance money, but who cares? Who cares? Get rid of a few divisions. You don't have to. Joe Weider didn't hold, you don't have to hold every division. I don't think Joe held the women, right? It was just the men when he did it.
No, it's all good points. Excellent point.
Hold the Masters Olympia as one division, men's open. Get some marquee people there to sell the whole thing so that people want to pay-per-view and they want to go see it and they get excited about it. That's what that show is about. They lost the spirit of what Joe created that show for. It's excitement about guys who were great in the past, who still look great, but are past their prime. People we want to see. And you know what? It was, like I said, it was a missed effort, and it became just another Masters show. And quite frankly, I'm happy for all the winners and everything. That's a nice title. It's a nice little medal you have around your neck. But I don't know. I saw Sammy Trudy won the 212. You see that? That was pretty cool.
Yeah, he looked good.
Yeah, he beat Hide for that title. But that's my take. I don't know if anyone else agrees with me, but I really believe that was a missed opportunity.
I think you got it spot on.
So thank you. Anyway, where else are we here? Okay. There's not that many pictures out. I was trying to find some pictures from the show, but I don't see that many. Let me give some little shout outs to the guys who won. Andre Ferguson, our good friend from New York, won the men's physique. Congratulations, Andre. Jenny Worth. You remember Jenny Worth?
Of course.
Jenny Worth. I remember when she was on stage at 19 years old. She was a phenom in the fitness division. And she, a couple of years ago, she was talking about making a comeback, and she started training and doing a few shows. She did a few shows. She kicked ass here, and she won. Congratulations on that. Jessica Reyes Padilla, who actually happens to be a terrific open figure competitor still, cleans up here. I don't think anyone had a chance against her. Karen Henich won the women's bikini. And let me see, was it wellness? We said 212 already. And then the men's classic was Alec Cabernero. Looked great. I saw some pictures of him. He was tremendous.
Yeah, he donated.
Tiana Flex won the women's bodybuilding from South Africa. And women's physique was won by Nana Silva from Brazil, while the Brazilian Renata Soares won the wellness division. So it's funny, they have a wellness Masters Olympia, but they never had a wellness open. So how do these people who are competing in the Masters Wellness Olympia never even got to compete in open? So the whole idea behind the Masters Olympia, it's not just a Masters show. It's supposed to be the legends from yesterday.
Well, it's the legacy. It's the legacy / legends.
I know. Remember when that lunatic Jarka used to hold the Masters Olympia in Miami Beach there?
Tremendous turnouts.
Yeah. She was a lunatic, and I actually liked her, but then she pulled some crap on me, and I don't know. We didn't get along after that. But she brought in all the legends. So even if you didn't want to compete, she brought in guys to guest pose. She brought back all the Olympia champs to be there. It was such a great, and it was right in South Beach. She probably lost a fortune on that show, but she did it right.
Dave, the last year she had it was Dexter, Tony Freeman, Dennis James. I mean, it was a heavy hitter lineup.
Remember she ran out of money and they didn't have they didn't have all the prize money or something like that.
Yeah,
it was supposed to be $100,000 for Dexter. That's why he did it.
Yeah,
I think they had to take a pay cut or something like that. She ran out of money.
She had it like a few years and she gave out the real money.
Chris, she had after parties at that. Was it the Fountain Blue or something like that? They were. I thought I was at a wedding. I thought I was at like Donald Trump's wedding. That's how extravagant the after party was. I'll tell her give her one thing. She was a little crazy, but she could throw a party, man. And I was leading up to that show. We were on the phone every day, her and I, with ideas and coverage for Muscle.
She had the Miss Olympia one year in Czech Republic.
That's right.
And not only was at a like mind-blowing venue, but the after party, she had an orchestra playing there. It was like the G7 was meeting.
It's funny because
it was
she told me about that. Yeah.
It was high end, and like you walked through the door and people giving like hors d'oeuvres and it was like ballroom seating, and there were speeches, and it was the after party must have cost $100.
Well, she told me when I thought we got close for a while because we were helping her promote the Masters Olympia. She made so much money on that 98 Miss Olympia she held, or was it right? Was it Miss Olympia or Miss Fitness Olympia?
Yeah, was it 98? Yeah.
Yeah. She made so much money that she figured she had it figured out. The problem was that she had it figured out in Europe. Because the Europeans will spend money on that stuff because they think it's like a night out at the opera. In the United States, they won't spend 10 cents on bodybuilding. So she went to South Beach, the most expensive place you can probably hold anything, and she held basically the equivalent of, like I said, a Donald Trump wedding in conjunction with renting that. I don't even know what that theater cost. That theater had to be a crazy amount of money. It was beautiful. Remember that's where I got choked out by that girl.
I can't remember where they had it that year.
What?
I can't remember where they had it that year at this show.
It was at that like in the middle of South Beach, that little theater. I don't even remember what the name was. A beautiful place. Beautiful. And I stayed at your house, you remember? At your condo. Yeah,
that's right. I can't remember. I remember.
That's why I loved it, because I would stay every year. I would stay at Chris's condo there.
I think it was at the Fillmore.
Yes, you're right. And you know what? You could actually walk from Chris's house to the place if you really wanted to. That's how close it was. And she probably lost a fortune because it was just too expensive to run. But she did it. She was bringing back the spirit of what Joe Weider had wanted.
I think she had the after party. Where did she have the after party?
I thought it was at the Fountain Blue, but I might be making it up.
Fountain Blue of Four Seasons. I can't remember, Dave.
It was one of those. It was. I'm telling you, I had like, it was like Chateaubriand like steak they were serving, and you know what? There was like places like wedding settings, and there had to be like 500 people they paid for, and no one was eating the food. I was going from plate to plate, eating all this. I must have had about 4 steaks that night. It was amazing. I'm like, you're going to eat that? I felt like my father. I'm like, you're going to eat that? They're like, no, I can't eat it. I'm full. I'm like, I'll pass it over here. I'm like, I'll try it out. I had the salmon. I had the Chateaubriand. I ate about 15 salads. Everyone was passing the salad down to me.
Good time.
Yeah, she did it. But the reason why I'm bringing this up and why we're having fun with this, even though, like I said, she was a little kooky, she understood the spirit of this show. This show is about the historical significance of the sport. It's about creating that nostalgia feeling that when you go there, it's like such an experience. It brings you back to the days when these guys that are on stage were competing. And that's why the fans will go and watch it. And that's why the fans will buy the pay-per-view. You have to get in this. If you don't get to that spirit, it's just another show. It doesn't matter that it says Masters Olympia.
Well,
the title is not what's important. It's the spirit of what you create at this show.
Yeah, that's why I included the lineup of that year when Dexter won. It was like the top 5 were phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? It wasn't an easy win for Dexter either.
No,
he was pushed. Everyone came in really good too for that show. It reminded me of the '98 Olympia when everyone knew Dorian had retired and everyone said, "Oh, the title's open and we can all get it." And everyone came in blasting, ripped and full, and they were all, and everyone was at their all-time best between Ronnie, Flex, Nasser, Lavroni, Sean Ray, Chris Cormier. Everyone was just like mind-boggling because they said, this is our opportunity. We have an open title here. So same thing with that Masters, because she was giving away $100,000. That's a lot of money for Masters guys to win. And that, once again, it goes back. If you give the money out, people will come. The problem was I don't think Jarka had the money. But nowadays Jim Mannion keeps it in I think they have it in an account. You have to pay ahead. The promoter has to put it into some kind of like an account so that the competitors are guaranteed that prize money now, so no one can pull that stuff anymore. But anyway,
if I recall,
what?
You and I were in the hotel lobby when someone told you Dexter didn't get all his money, and all Dave wanted to do was run to Dexter to get the interview. And find out. I don't think Dexter had known quite yet that he wasn't going to get what he was expecting to get.
You know what my dispute with the promoter Jarka was? I was their favorite person up until after the show was over, I guess, and she didn't pay all these people what they were supposed to get paid. I had footage. I shot footage of the stage.
Yeah.
And she, for some reason, thought I had everyone. I still have it probably on a hard drive. I should probably put it up someplace. I was putting these videos up of all the guys' routines and everything like that because everyone was beautiful routines. There was some guest posers there and everything like that. And she called me up like screaming like a lunatic at me that she's going to sell this to pay-per-view somewhere, a rebroadcast. And she had paid all this money to get this guy to film it. And I said, Jarka, I don't see anything. There's nothing out there. She made me take it all down. And she's like, you'll never be invited to the show again. So I think it was either Steve Weiber or Magny I talked to. I told them what happened. They're like, she's never holding another show again. Don't worry about it. They're like, there's nothing to not be invited to anymore. I said, all right. And she never put up the show never got put up. And I'm probably the only person who has the lost footage from that Masters Olympia. I got to dig through the files.
You put it up, Dave. It was a good.
Yeah. I got to look through it. But that was the story of the last great Masters Olympia. So hopefully, if they hold it in 2 years, I think they could do it every other year.
Sid could have announced it. He would have been like 14 though.
Maybe that's something that they should consider. Maybe what's his name? Bader should consider trying to do that in Dubai, because I bet you the Dubai Tourism Board would put up some good money for that. And maybe you could get like a Phil Kai, rematch if they put up enough money, I don't think it's out of the question for sure. All right. I am going to wrap up a little early today because I had to drop the kids off and I have a doctor's appointment, and I know you got work to do. It's Monday. School starts today here in Florida. You guys have another month before you got to send your kids back. But I want to thank everyone for joining us live this afternoon. As we say every week here at Heavy Muscle Radio,
the truth hurts.
See you next week.